everybody, and welcome to our first Wednesday webinar of 2026. We are joined today by Beth Duhon. Primary dances and singing games, great for subs or no Wi-Fi. So take it away, Beth. We're excited to hear what you have to say.
Hey y'all, Happy New Year. I don't know when we have to stop saying that, but I'm going to say it as long as I can. So Happy New Year. Thank you so much for being here. And before I forget my manners, thank you for the Music Play team. They are always so supportive, especially Danae tonight. If this Music Play gig doesn't work out, she can always be tech support somewhere because she's amazing. So primary dances and singing games is my first thought when I received this resource. So it's a little different tonight than some of my normal style. If you know me, I'm the Happier Music Teacher. So several of my webinars for Music Play have been self-care. And then lately, some of them have been more as far as, yes, Music Play works for upper elementary. Absolutely. This is a different one. This is from the different arm of Music Play that you may not be as familiar with, but I think you totally should. Themes and variations. So to my knowledge, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, it is the print and download division of Musicplay Online. So please do check out the rest of the print resources. And if you want to go ahead and follow along and go straight to the page for primary dances and singing games, you are welcome to do that. You could just click that QR code right there and it will take you there. I was surprised because I was playing along with this a little bit on vacation, how robust even the product pages for these are. So you really get to try before you buy, to check them out, to know what's going on. So this is what the product actually looks like if you get the print product. And I want to draw your attention to, I think, the most impactful part. So there's two options. And like I said, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm new to the themes and variations thing, is the download code that you receive on the inside. So I've already used my download code, and that is wonderful. And I'm going to tell you why here in a minute. You have two options. You could get the one that has the book copy or just the digital download. I would say spring the extra $2 or so and go ahead and get the book copy. There is something about having that in your hands when you're planning that I just think is tremendously helpful. And this QR code will take you to the product page for this. I have not obviously covered every single one of these because it's very robust. There are like 27. We will do a little bit of a greatest hits. So why did it come to my mind about no Wi-Fi and subs? Here's why. So print resources like these are in downloads are a great plan B to always have in your back pocket. Funny thing about Wi-Fi, it doesn't always want to work. And I have a true story about that from my campus this very year, or 2025. It was the end of the term, grades were due, and of course our grade book is online. Accommodation logs were due. Our logs are online. I was there teaching my first grade class. The power went out. Okay, had a little flashlight sing along. Figured we'd come back the next day. We'd all be, back to normal. Ah, ah, ah. There was no Wi-Fi on campus that whole day. So if you are just relying solely on Wi-Fi with no plan B, that can be an issue. So what I would suggest when you get this is go ahead and just download it immediately when you purchase it and keep your print copy nearby. When you have that download, and I know we all have different teaching contexts, right? So I am very fortunate with my tech. I have a smart board, might be a Promethean board. But if you immediately download it to that, or even if you just have a classroom laptop, if you immediately download it to your device, that is just like this instant, just this sigh of relief because you know you will not ever be with pre-K or kinder or any of those young friends for 45 minutes with no downloads, no Wi-Fi and no plan. A lot of these I'm sharing today, almost all, are on Music Play, and I know the cheap little person in us wants to go on there and download every one individually and then print it out individually and make a little no, 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 no. Your time is valuable as well. So go ahead and purchase the product. It is all in one place. And like I said, with the download that code, didn't take me much time at all. Yesterday afternoon, downloaded it, and we were in very good shape. So don't feel like you have to download everything individually. I remember John saying that at the summer symposium about one of his resources where, yes, you could go and patch everything together and download and print and make booklets, or you could just purchase something. And finances aren't nothing, but sometimes your time is worth the money every time. So that no Wi-Fi, kids are so conditioned to Wi-Fi. We are so conditioned to Wi-Fi. So go ahead and have those resources downloaded so you never have that moment of, what are we going to do? Of course, you can always grab a story and you can read it. We taught before Wi-Fi. We will teach if there's no Wi-Fi, but what a nice security policy to have that going. Along that same lines, my thought went to subplans. So I hang out a lot. I lurk in Facebook groups, music education Facebook groups, including the Music Play Online one. And you will frequently hear people talk about subplans. And I feel like we have two extremes with our subplans. There are the people who have the mother of all subplans, and it is the most beautiful plan ever. And they are crushed when their sub does not follow this plan perfectly. And then there are other people who barely have a sub plan. And so if anything does go wrong, like you're streaming your video for Wi-Fi to share, your sub has nothing. So I think it's really a great practice to have something that's sub easy and sub friendly. And if you don't care to have your sub, like I said, maybe sharing the code is a challenge for you or something for your Music Play account, or you've been discouraged from doing that. Then have something like this where it's already ready to go, it's pulled up, it's downloaded, and they can just literally push play for these activities. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is, it takes a little front loading, but I think the feeling of it is so good in the past when I have done this. For each grade level that's primary, and the book refers to it from pre-K to third, but you can do your own math on that depending on your teaching context. Pick one activity from the book for each grade level and teach it in advance of needing a sub. You will never be sad that there is an activity that the students know really well and can almost do on their own, right? And also, you may still leave a video, a musical video, for your main plan. Hand raised, I tend to do that a lot. But I don't know about you, but I feel like kids are getting more and more, maybe my age is showing, it's always showing. Kids are getting more and more video proof. Have you ever noticed that? And so for them to really sit and watch a video for 45 minutes, they almost can't do it. There was a time, probably, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, where they would be mesmerized by a video. That was it. It was a babysitter, you were good to go. But because of the amount of screen time we all have in our lives, it just doesn't have the same pull that it used to. So maybe what you're going to do is, you know what, I really want to make sure they have some active music making. So they are going to do that singing game they learned at the beginning of class and at the end, and the students can practically run the game if you have some trustworthy students and the right sub. So I feel like that's another way to have a happy medium. We're going to come back to this in a minute, but I want to jump right in with the music making. That was actually my intention the whole way along. And so we are going to start with clap your hands. So obviously you're on a Zoom, and some of you, I don't know if you've been back at school yet or not. I have been back at school. We have students coming tomorrow. So maybe some of y'all are in that same context as well. But anyway, we're still just kind of shaking the dust off. So for this, and my voice is a little rough, I was sharing with Danae that I've been sick recently. So I'm going to let the recording do the heavy lifting. Obviously on your own, you can see here on my screen, we have the chord symbols. It's a 2-chord beauty. So in your classroom, you do not have to let it do the work, but you could definitely project it so the students are seeing the music. You could project it so you are seeing the music, and you could just chord this thing out on your ukulele, on your piano, on your guitar, on your instrument choice, your auto harp, I don't know, your life. So this is Clap Your Hands. I'm just going to take you through it, and then we're going to talk about how I would use Clap Your Hands.
Clap, clap, clap your hands, clap your hands together. Clap, clap, clap your hands, clap your hands together. Step, step, step your feet together. Step, step, step your feet together.
change alert. I would think this very beginning of the year, maybe even the very first day of kindergarten music, if you're feeling brave, I think use your clicker, get this going, and have the students follow you in while you're doing it. Couple things there. You are telling the kids right away. I'm going to take you through basically a year of what this book might look like for you. You are telling your students right away, look, in this room, we move our body, we move our voice, we are active music makers. And in those first 5 minutes of class in kindergarten music, you will get so much information about those students. So you will have the ones who are clapping, who are singing in tune, who maybe know this song already. They could lead the class. You could go to Starbucks and come back in 10 minutes, you know? You'll have the ones who are really trying hard to be on beat, and maybe they're just not there. And when it comes to do 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 do, they're do do do. You'll know it. You will have the ones who might still be crying. You will have the ones who are silent and not going to give you anything in those first few weeks of music, and it's all normal, but it's all information. So we're going to change these lyrics for right now. Instead of walk around, which we'll get to in a minute, I would say walk in place. And in my room, I have a lot of guides to help the students with where to go and what to do. One of the guides is a lineup line with Velcro tape along the side and back of the room. And so when they follow me in that very first day, I would literally have them line up on the tape and be standing while we do this activity. So here's verse 3, but we're going to replace in the next 4 verses or so, instead of the around, we're going to replace with in place.
Walk around together. Walk around together. Do 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 do.
Now, for creep, there is a teaching suggestion here where it talks about using it for dynamics. On this first one out of the gate, and obviously we don't want them to creep on the ground, because a whole mess of kindergartners creeping on the ground is not what you want. So I would kind of creep like this. And once again, we're singing creep in place.
Creep around together. Creep around together. Do 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 do.
Fun little aside, this song, I grew up with it in my elementary music class, and so it is a traditional melody. Old Joe Clark, right? Fiddling tune. But like I said, it is a timeless classic. I choose it for a lot of reasons. The directions are very straightforward, right? Just out of the gate, kids can clap their hands. They can walk, especially if you tell them where to walk or what to do. And for hop around, like I said, you're going to say hop in place, and you're just going to help them to stay in their general area, that personal space bubble.
Hop around together. Hop around together. Do 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 do.
So for dance, I didn't used to have to give this disclaimer to students, but it's feeling more and more common. I always tell them safe, so that they have to be on 2 feet. I don't give a lecture on it. I'm just like, before this verse, maybe during that little interlude, I'll say, oh, don't forget, safe and nice for school. And when I mean nice for school is if some of them start doing something that looks real adult, you can just tell them that's not how we dance at school. You know, oh, nice for school, or don't be yucky, something like that.
Dance around together. Dance around together. Do 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 do.
And if you've been teaching more than 5 minutes, you know the 2 dances they're going to do. The dab, somehow it has not gone away, so you'll see your kids dabbing. And then the other ones that you'll see them doing is the floss. Now, for some reason, y'all, my husband can do the floss. He's actually quite good at it. And I am a train wreck. So I always just joke with the kids like, oh, can't do that one. You'll have to show me how. And then it's going to come back around to the clap your hands just like we started. During this time, I'm giving a lot of positive visuals, right? Big smile, big eye contact, assessing, assessing, assessing as I'm looking at what they're doing. And the more that I can let them know this is a fun, welcoming place, this is where you want to be, having fun, clapping your hands with me in music class. Early.
Clap, clap, clap your hands together. Clap, clap, clap your hands together. Do 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 do.
From there, like I said, not lesson one, but I would possibly do all of this in lesson one. If you are assessing their steady beat, if you are assessing their readiness or reluctance to participate, if this is a straight ahead follow direction song, right? It's not like, oh gosh, what should I do? Clap your hands together. It's very strong beat. It's very directive. And that's what I like coming out of the gate with the students. So there's no gray area about what they should be doing. The other thing that I think is wonderful for this, as a Kodai inspired teacher, yes, everyone thinks that we are the Ta and TT and the So Me people, and they're not wrong. But for the kids in their ears, it is so good for them to hear things that are outside just straight ahead pentatone and major tonality. So when you find other things to put in their ears, which this book is surprisingly full of, which I think is wonderful, it is great for them to get it. So when you're looking for the extension later on in the year, you're going to come back to this. And then you do get to say, so after we've done the line, and then I have given students their assigned spots, this song may come back up again, right? And this time they could do it from their assigned places. And so in my room, I have colorful dots, the sit spots, because I have carpet. You might have something else to show the space of the room, but they basically have their individual dot. And something I've been trying to get away from is them being on their dot forever. But I don't think it's unreasonable first quarter, first semester of your time with them for them to kind of stay in that space generally. Another thing that you could do is you could move this into a circle. I have another set of sit spots that delineate that circle. And so that is a way we can be doing this activity together. And maybe we could walk around the circle on the do 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 do. Another fun extension for this one is actually then after you have gotten used to their own space and then maybe a circle game, scattered space, but you have to teach them how to do it. Students aren't just innately born knowing how to do scattered space successfully. So you really do have to make it clear to them what your boundary lines are, about the bubble around you, about, moving your body safely. But then literally this walk around, as long as it's a safe space in your room, they can walk around, and they love having that feeling of freedom in the room. And you will know your class and you will know the time of year to introduce it to. But if you're like me and you're a little bit too married to the assigned spot and all that, once you get a little bit comfortable, once they know the lay of the land with your room, feel free to open that up a bit. That's what this is for, is some free movement in space as well. So great intro song, all of that. Let's go ahead and look at my list and see what other notes I put about it. Okay, yes, so first day. Another extension later in the year is to improv on the verses. So that do 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 that we see here, it suggests in the book that you could use lots of different syllables. And so for your syllables, you could use the ones that are provided. I think there's a no, 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 no. Adorable, great. But literally, you could have the students at some point, and you will know the ones that would like to. They can literally suggest those to you. So it could be maybe you say animal sounds, and so they sing, moo, 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 bok, 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 bok. So imagine how much fun you can have with that as a launching piece for improv. So please don't feel like this is just, okay, sit on your spot, follow the directions, while the recording does all the work for you. This is just a launching point, like so many of Music Play and Theme and Variations resources. They're really launching places for your creativity and launching places for their creativity. Like a lot of these, this would be just precious in performance. Like I said, you don't even, with the around, you could just do in place. And especially if there's not risers or you do a small hop, you really can. You just have to set the expectations with the students about that. But clap your hands is a great one just out of the gate. And if you're following along, it is number 16. I just happened to lead with it a little bit. Oh, okay. So the other ones that they have, I knew there were other ones suggested. You could do a law. I think that's actually how I learned it, is with the law. La 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 la. And this is, they mentioned great for ESL learners, so English as a second language learners or your emergent bilinguals. This is a wonderful thing because they will be able to catch on immediately. And with the repetition, and the children love that repetition, right? They like the predictability, they like knowing the right answer of it. So it really checks a lot of boxes for that. And it almost is your own sentence stem. And when you're still trying to squeeze more out of it, like I said, I think a lot of times we feel like we have to have this vast songlet, which checks its own box. But don't be afraid to take one tune also and just really dig deep into it. A fun one for this one is you could literally have students suggest the movement, and you may have to put some parameters around it, but not crazy. And like I said, will they say dab, dab, dab? Yep, they will. Will they say floss, floss, floss your hips? Maybe. But give them the opportunity to kind of have the right answer. And sometimes if they're faltering a little bit, you could give them a choice, right? Okay, do you want to jump or swim? And they'll tell you, and then maybe the whole class, swim, swim, swim your hands. So a lot of creativity there, but I'm going to reiterate this a lot during this hour together. It's not just that you wake up and you want your third graders improvising beautifully and moving beautifully, and you start that day. I really firmly believe that the primary grades are where all this starts. So go ahead and start making those small choices, those small chances, these small movement activities, because then by the time they get to be upper elementary, it's second nature. It's not a big deal to them at all. I wanted to go back to the other PowerPoint. I'm jumping around all over tonight, y'all. The ADHD is strong in me tonight. So this is another good one for vocal rest. Vocal fatigue is real. I have been there. I have had a vocal node and been on vocal rest. Stressful. And kinder classes for that can be so long and so vocally demanding, excuse me. So it is great to have in your back pocket for those days. For me, sometimes it's Fridays. So if we've had a full week, which one of those is coming soon, it's great to have in your back pocket that if you just needed to not, and you needed to use the recording instead of you making the music on your piano or ukulele or a cappella, that you could push your recording, and these would be songs and movement activities that the students were familiar with because you familiarized them with at least one at the beginning of the year, and maybe this is your opportunity to familiarize them with more. I think it's also great as part of a warm-up. And then if it is vocal rest day, then that can be review, right? Oh, remember that fun song we did the first day of school? Remember this holiday song? On and on. So if you are feeling a little bit vocally fried, I think a lot of us push through past what is healthy, and there is no shame in that. There are several people on my music education Mount Rushmore who have struggled vocally. So there is no shame in that, but you do get just one voice. So you really do want to take care of it. And when you're noticing those signs of fatigue, it is perfectly okay to lean on a recording to help. Something you can even do to cheat a little bit, I did not do it this go through, but I could have, is literally do some lip syncing. I do a pretty convincing lip sync with my students, and sometimes, and it also keeps them from being so reliant on me for everything vocally. So I find that they sing stronger. So it is okay to, when no sound is coming out of your mouth, just because you need the vocal fatigue. Speaking of which, good sip of water there. So I don't know about your students. Some of my students think Movement Day and they hear Welcome to Thunderdome or it's time to roller derby, or this is like the best, let's be wild and hurt somebody. So if that has ever happened to you, this is a movement chant that I use. If you've been to some of my other webinars, you may have heard me use it before. It is one I started my classroom last year, and now I couldn't live without it. So I literally have the students echo me, because that way it's coming out of their own lips too, and it's not just want, 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 want. So here's what I do pretty much any level before we do something vocally, and just to set the expectation for how they should move and what it looks like in the room. So I'll say, and they'll echo, the level is a 0. They'll echo. We move to the beat. We move our body safely, or else we have a seat. And they will echo all those. They'll even kind of pantomime it. But it gives me a nice shorthand to talk with the students too. If you have a student who is just talking the whole way through the chorus of Clap Your Hands and it's making you crazy, you could gently whisper to them, the level is a 0. Or you could even just shorthand it so that you're not calling them out hugely, excuse me, grammar after break, people. It never is that great, but after break, my. You're just setting the expectation. And if there are people who are chatting during folk dance, which is kind of natural and normal, but if you're not wanting that behavior, like I said, you can really remind them the level is a 0. Regarding the beat, some of them will think it's fun to just kind of, just move real silly and out of control. And so you're setting the expectation that the music has a beat and that you move to it. And then as far as moving your body safely, if you choose not to do that, then, if you're moving in a way that is going to hurt me or someone else, that's not okay. So it might be if the whole class is rowdy, maybe they need to have a seat for a minute, regroup, revisit the chant, and start again. Or it might just be one friend and they take a breather, maybe they have a fidget or a calm down, and then you invite them to come back and participate the right way. We talked about the sit spots and Velcro, but just to go over that again. So my room is a little wacky looking with this, and I am not a type A, so these lines are not neat and straight. Some of you would have a serious literal panic attack if you saw my room like that. So I have Velcro for lining up. We talked about lining up on that for that very first time, maybe with Kinder, for Clap Your Hands Together. Every student has an assigned sit spot. A lot of times for movement, if the freeze dance, like the Halloween freeze dance on Musicplay, I will let them move within that space, especially first semester, until we get a little bit more comfortable with the movement. If there are circle games and dances, and of course there are, I have the black sit spots to show a circle in my room. It just gives us a path. It just kind of helps eliminate some of that bickering about making a circle. And like I said, it helps with the management. And for the circle, this is a little bit Stacy, but I think I don't do it right, so it's going to have to be a little bit me. I have turned, she doesn't make the circle, and so I've turned into a little bit of a cheer. So I'll say, make a circle, make a circle, make a circle, while I keep the beat. And most of the time they're pretty there. If there's a few stragglers, I may assist them to an empty spot in the circle. And for sure, if I have some students who struggle, maybe just a flock of people by each other who should not be by each other, where someone's going to get hurt just looking at each other, or they're going to be a little rough and wild, I will just pop myself right in the middle of that and smile at them and take their hands, and off we go. So managing a little bit by proximity. I think that a lot of us with movement are a little bit afraid of it, right? And others of us love teaching movement, but it took me a while to get there. And so with all these movement activities, they are so good for you. And you don't want to wait until upper elementary to start teaching folk dancing. You really want to start sooner than that and get movement just part of the students' vocabulary, all sorts of that. But these management pieces, I feel like help just a whole lot. Oh, start now. See, I read my own mind. So we did clap your hands. We milked that clap your hands. Here's another one that I just enjoy a lot. And once again, not a major tonality. So if you're feeling like in elementary land, that's all we live in and all we do, that's not true. A lot of these have a minor tonality or a different mode. And I just love that. I think it's great. So the song is Fall Leaves. Now, starting here, if you are a Musicplay Online user, I have made these into a list. But like I said, I really think the smart play here is to, with the product, to go ahead and purchase it and download it and have the resources. And what you saw when I was working with Clap Your Hands here, this is the PowerPoint of it, and it has the sound embedded. And so that is what you will see with it. And I believe there is also a PDF as well. So we started school. It is now fall. It is such a novelty in Texas, or my part of Texas, with fall. The only time we really see fall is like inside the Hobby Lobby. So there are no leaves changing colors here or falling down. So we have to pretend a little bit, but we like to pretend to have fall, even though it might be, 87 degrees outside. So here is how I would teach this one, and we're literally going to do it. So the first thing for falling leaves, I would just play it as a listening activity for my students. And it is a short listen, so it will not be any problem. And just a listen activity.
Leaves are falling down all around the town, whirling, whirling in the wind. The leaves are falling down.
We will stop there for your listening. But I would go ahead and listen to the whole bit. And, and then you can even have them raise their hand when they hear the lyrics and put their hand down when they don't hear words. And then ask them specific questions about the words. What's falling down? And what's making them whirl? Oh, it's the wind, all of that. And then I would have them, I always do this, choose their special magic marker finger. And don't tell me what color yours is. Tell your brain. Mine's purple. And then trace the melodic contour with their magic finger. So I would do a second listening, and we'll do an abbreviated version of this too, and literally have them trace that melodic contour with their finger. We're trying to get them to get those ideas of songs having contour. And this is exactly, the lowest sound is on the word down. It's so intuitive and so good for them to start seeing that music looks and feels the same way. So we'll trace it with our special magic marker finger, the contour. Here's your finger.
Leaves are falling down all around the town, whirling, whirling in the wind. The leaves are falling down.
So you're getting that idea. And once again, with the recording, this can be, I distinctly remember using this specific song on vocal rest, and my head of elementary music came and observed me. So she got to see me do some falling leaves with no voice in real time. But certainly this is one where you could get out your wind chime and play your piano, and literally you are the music maker, which I encourage as much as you possibly can with this song. But tracing the melodic contour would be step one. I think a lot of times with movement activities, we feel like we have to just jump right in. And I think there's a lot of intentional scaffolding and a lot of other skills that we could do too. And so then, same idea, stand to trace. And then on the improv part, just tell them, like we were saying earlier, safe and nice for school. And one I didn't think I have to add, but I do, is stay on 2 feet. A lot of littles, I don't know, their improv move is going to be, on the floor, not on 2 feet, and someone's going to step on them or trip over them or vice versa. So I really encourage safe, nice for school, that the way you're saying it without really having to say it, and stay on 2 feet. So that improv, they could do whatever they want during it, and some of them may just straight up copy you, depending on what you're doing. Some may do their own thing. Some may twirl. They like to twirl just as long as they're being safe there. But give them a chance to do their own moves on the improv session. Then the next surprise, and you can space this out over lessons, especially depending on how often you see your students. My rotation is fairly long. I see students every 6 days. I know there are people with longer rotations. But for me, a lot of this might happen in one lesson, where some of you, if you see them more frequently, maybe like a 3-day rotation or something, you might space this out over several lessons. And I think a lot of times we don't squeeze enough out of Songlit. we will do a song, the 2 minute recording's done. Okay, what next? And we burn through all these songs that the kids don't really know and haven't really experienced very deeply. Okay, so I have colorful scarves in my room for movement. Everyone loves them, regardless of the level, honestly. I love movement and movement props. Uh, but I had to notice that the first thing a lot of them do is straight on their face. And then the next thing it would do is put it, like over their hair. Not so great for public school, am I right? Uh, and their friend's face. Or they would want to pick deep, single, perfect color. Stand here while I pick the Barbie pink. So instead, I say, no face, no head, no friend. And I have them repeat it. And then if someone does slip up and, I'm like, oh, no face. And they remember, it just triggers the right response in them for it. And then we move with it for the scarves. So taking that piece of fabric, taking that scarf, and then moving with it to the beat. So I did not grab my scarves and things, but we will just move with your pretend scarf for the first part of Falling Leaves. And there's no wrong answer. You do not have to movement police them on this.
Leaves are falling down all around the town, whirling, whirling in the wind. The leaves are falling down.
And then this is where they might make up their own thing.
Leaves are falling down.
And then you're back to the top of the song. And it repeats several times, but those are the biggies there. Another thing, actually, there's a lot more. Another thing I love to do with these type of activities, I don't have any currently, but I purchased some at another campus a few years ago, is just the leaves from the craft store. And everyone gets a couple bags, and you'll see them. It's just a bag of generic fall leaves, kind of plasticky. And everyone gets two, and you should just see how beautifully they move with the leaves while they do those type of activities. And then on the neutral syllable, and if the words are too tricky, once again, you could come back to your loo, 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 loo. They will feel very musical while they're doing it, getting that different tonality and moving with their leaves. The other thought I had, if you happen to have a parachute and a strong constitution, you could definitely get your leaves in the middle and have the students together. Leaves are falling down with your parachute all around the town. And as a team, maybe make this parachute whirling, whirling in the wind. The leaves are falling down. You could even have students walk or run underneath the parachute, do the instrumental break, make a breeze. So have fun with it. There literally are not movement police or music education police who are coming for you. We are trying to bring out the musicality and the joy in our children, and you have a blank check. Luckily, these resources have a lot of ideas and lots of robust, material, but don't feel like you are married to just that. You can certainly improv and stretch it a little bit. Excuse me. That's my fake Stanley, y'all. Okay, so that is Falling Leaves and obviously fall time. And this one, don't feel afraid to go as high as two. I think second graders would completely thoroughly enjoy this. I think you could also make a case with pre-K. So a lot of a common question at the summer symposium, and by the way, I literally went through St. Charles over my break, so I thought about y'all fondly during that time, um, is what level is this for? I think a lot of times, trust your instinct, you will know. A lot of these are labeled or like primary, it will give you a rough range. If it feels that something is too babyish, yes, it is. Trust your gut on that. But also don't feel like this is only for 7-year-olds and will only work for 1 year. No, it's a lot more fluid, and you can even just use enrichment and things with that as you go. Let's see what we have up next. Woo! Okay. I wish I had thought of this one, and I did not. Okay. I think this is so genius. So show me your bat wing. Show me your pumpkin head. And I always encourage them to be safe with that. Put your skeleton in. Can you also see me if I do that a little bit? We're going to give me a little bit more room to move and groove. Okay. Cattail. And this is where anytime anything uses your booty, I'm like, so cattail in, cattail out, your cat paw. Okay. But I have them go through those motions first. Now, depending on your campus and your context, okay, you may not be a campus where it's very Halloween friendly. Totally understood. I have taught this and subbed October Night. I think you could teach this and just use the instrumental and still get a very similar vibe. For this one, I would use a circle formation, and you just saw me, I just previewed the song for the students, right? And so I would go through each of those moves so we have the movement vocabulary for what we're going to do for them. And then, so circle formation, we talked about those sit spots that might be in a circle, and we form a circle. And just let them know they don't have to take hands for this circle. Place yourself between those challenging friends. We talked about that earlier. And then we walk on the ooh, and we stop our feet on the verses. So it might be put your bat wing in, but on the ooh, then we're literally ooh. And this is where I would encourage the students, and I don't even think I had to the first time I did it, and it made me chuckle. So I was, newer teacher, we're going to walk to the beat, Halloween. And one of them walked like this. And I thought that is hysterical. And so then I kind of started encouraging that more. So, we have students who might be walking like, Frankenstein or a zombie or a cat or something like that. So it is okay for them to move however they like to on that chorus part. So this can stretch out over a couple lessons or a few, as I mentioned with the other things. So we reviewed the moves. We talked about the safety on the pumpkin head and all of that. We talked about the moving on the ooze. The first time I do almost anything that has a prop, I do it prop free. And the first thing I do almost any movement, it is non-locomotor, excuse me. And then I transition it into locomotor. And so following that though, I would add the stretchy band or the parachute, and we'll talk about how that. But also let's go back. How clever to put Looby Loo in minor for Halloween. Denise Gagne, y'all. Oh my goodness. I would not have thought to do it, and it's so genius. I can't take it. Once again, getting those minor ears, getting that spooky feeling without anything real overtly dark or scary, which I appreciate. So let's go ahead and do a little movement to Halloween Looby Loo. I will not be singing. I'll be doing my best lip sync, but you can audiate it at home. That might be when you hear.
Shake, shake, shake.
thank you for doing that with me. Maybe you just audiated it. I don't know. So having fun walking, and my mind goes to a certain place, but we're going to go there in a second. So I have the stretchy band. Some of y'all might have it. Mine is from Bear Paw Creek. I think that's a major producer of them. So you could certainly have them walk with that stretchy band as a guide with their circle while they ooh, and then drop it while they do their cat paw or their bat wing or any of those moves, and then pick it back up. And what that's really doing is enforcing the form, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Um, Once again, the text in the book suggests a parachute, and it is very fun with a parachute. Just know that you may want to prep all the things that you like them to know about a parachute. You know, for example, about a lot of us don't like to use the handles, we grip the side, and talking, just talking about also with the stretchy band, I would say, talking about how you don't want to, what you do affects someone else, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If I pull on the stretchy band, that could affect someone else. If I'm shaking the parachute super hard, that could kind of jerk someone else around. So just making sure that we're all on the same page, and know your classes. You might have a class where, you know what, we are just going to do this with no props. Thank you very much. And you might have just the best behaved class that follows every instruction, and you can add these props very quickly with no trouble. So that
Beth, I
leads
just
me,
wanted to give you a time check. You got about 7 minutes.
oh my goodness. Okay, okay, thank you, Danae.
No
I
problem.
am going to skip ahead really quickly to the form tool before we come back for Danish Dance of Greeting. So we have not made it very far through our school year, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of how you use this song. And once again, I think these songs are so much richer than just put on and listen, or just do one time. If you're seeing them throughout the month of October, you could literally, if you have curricular time, put this throughout the whole month of October. You know, um, so I always feel like let's teach the music theory along at the same time, and that it's not too early to do that. So this is where I would use the form tool, and it depends on your level that you're using for this song. Also, an aside about Halloween, if you have students that don't celebrate any holiday for whatever reason, kind of none of my business, um, I have a really magical binders full of old Music Express magazines that some on the campus before I was there made. They are perfect, I think, for that. They are still getting some musical learning. They are reading. It's nice and fun. So it gives them something active to do while you're doing the other activities if they're not participating in those activities. But also, I don't make my whole menu in a Halloween lesson. This might be a little bit of dessert in a lesson, and then the rest of the time, the students are all participating. Okay, the form tool, I was just going to show you. This is not in the book, but after Halloween Looby Loo, or maybe the following lesson, I would be really tempted. And because students are so literal, I would go ahead and say, all right, let's go ahead and click the circle. Ooh, what shape do you want it to be for when we stop our feet? And maybe they'd say, you know what, we want to do a star. And so all of a sudden we have a pattern with the stars and circles. And then what do we do again? Ooh, do you think that one is a circle or a star? And before long, we built, and I will go through all the moves because they don't care, I don't care, and it really helps to reinforce it. And because kids are so literal, I think it's really lovely how they've added the shapes instead of just the alphabet letters. But once you get past that point later on the semester, like with Dance of Greeting, then you could swap to it. And then you could use, and most of these are A-B form, right? With some repeats. And they are always going to want to say C next. And you are going to have to guide them to that right answer with the A, especially the first time. They're just so used to going A, B, C. To remember, oh yeah, what was that first part? Remember where we were walking and saying, ooh, is it like the A or like the B or something different? Like the A. Well, let's call it A, if that makes sense. So let's go on to Danish Dance of Greeting. True story, I am literally going to be teaching this tomorrow. I love this dance. Okay, So I would start this one out, and I think there are so many different uses for it. So great first folk dance. Great for, we were talking today in my PLC for elementary music about our like multicultural nights and what we do. This would be wonderful for an international night, multicultural night performance. Maybe spice up your kindergrad if it's a little bit stand and sing heavy. Teach it to the moms on Mother's Day, all of that stuff. So I would start this out with the students in their assigned class spots and a speaking voice. So I would have the kids, I'd say, echo me, my turn. Clap, clap, bow. Clap, clap, bow. Stamp, stamp. Turn yourself around. And then I would count the 4 step for the turn yourself around so they don't think it's a twirl. Turn yourself around. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then once we're successful on that, easy, right? Then we would change it into a singing voice. So clap, clap, bow. Clap, clap, bow. Stamp, stamp, turn yourself around. And then they start to get the idea, but they're still echoing you. So we're really big time scaffolding. We're mostly just focusing on the moves. Then we're focusing on small snippets of the melody. And then I just kind of changed up on them. So I do that make a circle chant that mine turned into a cheer. So I get them in a circle, make a circle, make a circle, make a circle while I keep the beat. And I think this is a golden opportunity for clockwise and counterclockwise. And you're kind of dodging the left and right. So after our circle, I'm like, okay, if Frank is 12 and Lucy is 6, let's move like a clock. And let's take hands, sweet hands, and move like a clock for 16 beats. Count with me. We count all the way to 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If the clock goes clockwise first, what do you think we're going to do next? The opposite? Yeah, me too. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Then I will put it together and I will literally let them sing while they do the moves. So we will all sing together. Clap, clap, bow, clap, clap, bow, stamp, stamp, turn yourself around, and do the second phrase as well. And then have us go through the B section, counting aloud with the music. And then I'll be like, okay, let's use your thinking voice. So teaching that audiation and having them to go ahead and do it silently. Now, some of them may mess up on purpose or may legitimately forget and start singing it, but just encourage them with that chant that we did earlier. And I would even introduce that again. The level is a 0. We move to the beat. We move our body safely, or else we have a seat. And that just reinforces it. Danae, how am I doing on time? Are we getting close, dear?
We got about 4 minutes until 5:30.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to fit anything in. Otherwise, I do have a question that might fill up those 4 minutes.
You know what? Let's do that. And if we find that we're just sitting here staring at each other, we'll run Danish dance of greeting and dance together.
Okay, sounds good. So my question is, I know you mentioned that you could do one of these lesson or one of these songs in a single lesson, but how many lessons in general do you usually recommend for teaching these songs and doing the activities you're mentioning?
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to dodge your question a little bit, but a lot of it depends on how much time you have. Uh, you could, like, for example, Danish dance of greeting. I could literally do just the talking part of the A section as a warm up lesson 1. And then next week, I do the A section singing, like I demonstrated. Week 3, we do the B section, and they don't know what it belongs to. We just do the B section. And week 4, we're doing it where we all sing while we do it. Clap, clap, bow, clap, clap, bow. And then week 5, that's what we're on. Then we could do it with the audiation. So you could really stretch it like that. Or if it's like, oh snap, my Mother's Day program is coming up in 5 minutes and we need to learn this dance to go with it. You could really, with most first grades, you could probably learn this in a focus lesson for sure, even part of a focus lesson, and they would know it pretty well. It just depends on how you like to pace it and how much a chunk of your curriculum you're wanting to give to it in that lesson.
Okay, brilliant. That makes sense. It's a good answer.
Yay! Yay! That's my
All
Miss
right, yeah.
America answer. Um,
All right, perfect. All right, sounds good. Well, we are just under 2 minutes left, so I think that is a good spot to close up for today. Thanks so much again, Beth, for this great webinar. This is such a great resource, so I'm so happy to see that you're talking about it.
It is such a great resource, and I would really like to encourage everybody. I hope it's not too salesy because I'm a terrible salesperson. But if you have not checked out, maybe you haven't been to Summer Symposium and seen the booth with all the print resources and put your hands on them, or you just didn't, maybe you weren't aware. There's some real gems there, including your Nutcracker book. And so I think it is worth checking out. We are not in this like post-print society. I think it's a yes and. It is digital and it is print.
Yep, I definitely agree. I know my bookshelf will also agree with you.
Yay.
Uh, but thanks again, Beth, and thank you so much for everyone who joined us for our first Wednesday webinar of 2026. We are having another next week. It's a little bit different. It's at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's for our UK teachers. But if you are free at that time and you'd like to join us, we would love to see you there. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day and a great rest of